What's up everybody, welcome to the channel. In today's video we're going to be talking about whether or not you should buy an On3 Turbo System for your car, specifically Fox Body Mustang, because that's what I just got done putting my On3 Turbo System on, and I just wanted to go over what's good about it, what's bad about it, and this is my honest opinion. And at the end of it, I'll be telling if I would have bought this kit again, or if I would have skipped it and gone to another kit, like maybe a pony down or just a different kit. I'm just going to be going over every single thing that I went through with installing this kit and let you know how it went. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, so let's get right into it. Alright, so let's just start with the positives, because there is a lot of positives about this turbo kit. I mean, it's really cheap. I think that's the number one thing that is so great about this turbo system, is it comes in at a great price point. It comes in just around $1,600, and this is for the Fox Body Turbo kit. This is what we're talking about, but I mean, great price point. It's what makes everybody want this kit the most, because the next option up is at least $2,500 at least. And so for 1,600 bucks you can get a turbo kit for your Fox Body, and it's just so good. And that is that's like the number one first good thing about this kit, is you can get it for so cheap. So the second thing is on On3 Performance's website, there's tons of different options you can put with it. You can get any turbo you want from them. You can get all these different kinds of things. It's great. You can customize it however you want, but it does mean more money at the end of all of it. So you are going to be spending more for your kit. Like, I think I upgraded the turbo and I upgraded a couple other little things here and there, and the kit actually ended up costing me $2,500, but when it was all said and done. So yeah, because I have a 348 cubic inch small block Ford in my car, so the 70mm turbo was just going to be a little bit too small for me, so I didn't really want to go that route. That's why, so I upgraded it to their 7675 BMF turbo, which is a great turbo. Again, for the price, you get a discount if you order the sized up turbo from them. I was very happy with that part of the kit. So we got price point and we got customization you can do with this. So, and then the third positive thing I have to say about this turbo system is I've heard there has been bad customer service with this kit, but On3 was very helpful with me. They were missing some parts, which we'll talk about later, but there was some hardware missing, there was some oil fittings missing with the kit, and so I didn't have any of it, and I couldn't continue the build on my car. But I did call them. They said, take a picture of what you have, and then they sent me everything I needed. They were very helpful throughout the whole situation. So with my personal experience, they were very, very good on their word about making sure that everything I needed got done. So that's another positive for them. And so the next thing is, I mean, let's face it, you can add a ton of power to your Fox Body. So I guess you could go either turbo or you could go supercharger. But man, this turbo system makes tons of power. There's guys on YouTube that with a stock block, stock head, stock everything, I think it made upwards of like 450 horsepower, somewhere around there. And that's just insane. I mean, you can slap this turbo kit on and almost make around 450. That's wild. I mean, Neo Mustangs did it. You can look at his page, which he freshly rebuilt an engine and bang, 400 or 450, somewhere in there on a stock engine. That's wild. So it's the bang for your buck is just insane. One of the other things that I think is really important, and it doesn't really have anything to do with On3, but it is a positive of the kit, is that you actually, so many people have installed this by now that you can go on forums on the internet, you can go on Facebook groups, and everybody has dealt with this system almost, it seems like, anyway. So there's tons of people that know about it, know the ins and outs of it, what's wrong with it, what's good with it, what you need to upgrade about it. That part about this kit is very, very good. So there's a wealth of information on the internet about this. Heck, I'm making a video about it right now. So very simple to find answers about problems with the kit. So that is one of the good things about it, is that you can always go to the internet to answer some questions. So that about sums up the good. Let's talk about the bad, because there's quite a few things. I'm not gonna lie to you. I ran into quite a few issues with this thing. So I think the first thing is overall quality. there's just weird little things that were wrong with it. So the first thing is that I had a problem with is the header flanges are nice and thick pieces of steel, but the holes they drilled for your actual to mount it onto your heads, one side lined up perfect, didn't have a problem with it, it was fine. The second side I put on, the header bolt holes didn't match, so I had to actually drill out a little bit of one of the header bolt holes and shift it around and make it work. So that was a negative. Please work with me for like 2 seconds. Come on, come on, come on. Alright, the second negative. There's missing parts. I mean, even though they helped me out and got me my parts, there were still missing parts, and I know it's a very common thing. If you go on some of these other YouTubers like House of Dula and I think Brutal, and there was missing parts, for goodness sake, and everybody almost deals with this as missing parts, which just isn't that cool, because either you gotta call them or you gotta source your own stuff, and it's just a bummer at the end of it all. So I wasn't really happy about that, even though they did fix it, and I give them very, very big props that they did fix that. But there was other things, like I didn't get enough hardware for a bunch of stuff, and it was just a bummer. So we'll move on. So the next thing I want to talk about is on my turbo, my compressor housing holes or bolts, not the bolts, but the bolt holes, they were stripped from On3. I had to take the whole compressor housing off and re-tap all the holes so it would actually tighten up. I got this thing tapped, so that worked out pretty good. I just still can't believe they sent me a bolt that was already stripped from wherever. That is so frustrating. That sucked. That was a really annoying thing. And like this theme that you're seeing is what happened throughout the whole build, is there's just little stupid irritating things that just kept happening, which I think a lot of aftermarket things that you do on your car, Fox body in general, is this thing's gonna happen, so you can't really be too upset about it, but there's certain things that could have been better. But the thing that I think that I don't like about this kit the most, the absolute most that I don't like about this kit, is the turbo placement. And we were having that belt problem. So what I did is I loosened the turbo up again, I loosened up the clamp down there, and I clocked it. I just pushed it, and so now, still no room, but we got this thing really tight. Horrible. They give you the alternator relocation bracket so that you can pull your alternator over, and then the turbo it'll have room for the turbo. So it's still, and this is partly because I do have the bigger 7675 turbo, but there's literally an 1/8 of an inch, this much. There's like no room for it at all. It's such a tight fit, and I guess I just don't understand why they couldn't just push it over a little bit. The pony down kit is like that. It actually has the kit shifted, or the turbo shifted towards the fender. It fits a lot better. So that was the one thing that I really didn't like. And then to go with that, just the hot side in general, is that your hot side piping is an 1/8 of an inch from your sway bar. And so I've heard other people have to get rid of their sway bar. I've heard other people have to do just certain things about the sway bar. And this is a street car. I don't want to take off my sway bar. I like it. I like the sway bar. It's cool. It makes the car feel good. So I didn't want to get rid of it. So I did everything I could. But at first, it's not the piping actually, but the V-band that you have to get, or the V-band that goes around the clamps is, at first it was actually touching. Mine was touching the sway bar. Okay, so hopefully you can see. What I had to do was I had to get different sway bar in links, and then I had to get, what else I have to go? I just had to get new sway bar bushings, and still, now it's probably an 1/8 of an inch, which isn't ideal. It's just not ideal. So that sway bar moves too much. It's probably gonna smack that the V-band clamp. So that's another thing I wasn't too happy about. The pony down goes over the sway bar, which is kind of nice. So that was another thing I wasn't too crazy about with the kit. I guess it is what it is. I feel like that could have been done a little bit better, but just expect that if you're installing it on your car. So the cold side piping. So you do have to fab up your own mounts for the intercooler, which I know a lot of people complain about this part of this kit, but I really didn't mind it. It allowed me to put that intercooler exactly where I wanted it, and I think it came out better because of it. I think I did a pretty decent job, if I say so myself, about mounting that intercooler. So I did like that part of the kit, but I know some people don't. It's just another thing to consider if you're thinking about buying this kit. But then the other thing, so to get all the piping correct, you do have to cut the cold side piping. So you can see right there that the intercooler, that's about where it's going to sit. Actually, it's going to sit a little bit back, and this is where this pipe wants to be. It wants to be pushed out that far, and that's just not going to work for us. I don't like it. I'm not going to use it like that. All right, so starting off with this one pipe that goes up into your intake, I cut 2 inches off of it. I said 1.5 inches, but I ended up doing 2 inches, and it fits so much better. It's tight up against the frame. It doesn't make any contact down here. So because if you don't, you got all these weird bends and it doesn't fit quite right when it like folds back into the engine bay from the fender well. It doesn't fit right. So if you take about like 2 inches out of one of the pipes, it'll fit. But that's just another thing. It's going to be a little different for every car because, you know, all cars are made differently to a certain extent. But it was one thing that was kind of irritating, that the pipe was that much longer, and you just, you know, cutting up your brand new kit is always like a little, you don't feel good about cutting into $2,500, or if you base kit $1,600. It just doesn't feel too good. That was another thing I wasn't too happy about. The 90-degree coupler. I don't like that. I don't like the whole 90-degree coupler thing. That was another thing I kind of wasn't my favorite. So I fabbed up my own piece, and if you're running a bigger throttle body, that 90-degree coupler isn't going to fit at all. So it's something else to consider. All right, so those were my positives, negatives. On both sides, there's quite a bit. It's like I'm kind of in the middle about my overall opinion in general, but let's talk about it. What is my overall opinion? So I do like the kit for an introductory kit. I think for the price, it cannot be beat. I think that part is great. I really, really like the price. I mean, it's almost worth going through all that irritation just because it's so cheap, but I'd still spend a bunch of money on it. And the other good thing, I guess, about it is that you can upgrade the kit too later. You can get new wastegates for it. You can get a bigger or a better turbo for it later on. You pay for what you get. So since you're paying this low price point, you're gonna be missing parts. You're gonna have a lot of headache. It's gonna make you a little bit crazy, but it is a great price. If I was trying to build a Mustang on a budget again, like I am right now, I would definitely buy this kit again, just because it's so cheap. I mean, it's very frustrating, but for this amount of money, definitely. But if I did have more money, which is the age-old thing, I would get a pony down kit. 100% I would get a pony down kit. I think the turbo placement is much better. The keeping it away from my sway bar is much better. I'm telling you right now, don't be surprised if I make another video about cracking my headers because it hit the sway bar. I hate that. I'm not taking off my sway bar either. I just think the pony down kit's better. It does come, I think it's like $3,500 if I did everything. That's on the high end, but I would go with that again, or I would go with that instead of the On3 if I had more money. But since I don't, I think the On3 kit is a good kit. That is my overall opinion. For the price, it is great. For the headaches, it is miserable. But I would buy it again if I was doing another budget build. So that's how I feel about the kit. I hope you found some help if you're trying to decide whether to get the kit or not. Hopefully I can shed some light on the things I had to go through. What good, bad, ugly, you know, all of it. And those are just some of the things I had gone through. If I have any recommendations, if you're looking for more info about the kit, Brutal, House of Dula, Neo Mustangs, all have good content. Oh, Justin 91LX as well. All have good content about the kits. If you're really interested in that, I would go check them out as well. So I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you found this content helpful, consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. And we are building a 9-second 700 horsepower turbo fox body on my channel, so if you want to see more of that, stick around. We're just gonna make this thing super fast and, I don't know, mess with the internet a little bit with my old fox body. Alright everybody, thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day. Bye.
All I got is questions. I ain't ever hold no answers. Bet you sick of hearing lessons from a dude who got no handle.